Hello and welcome to this Glamour Professional Retouch Panel tutorial on the Frequency Separation 1. The Glamour Professional Retouch Panel is a Photoshop extension panel that works along in Photoshop to help speed up your retouching workflow and also give you some amazing results. Especially if you're new into Photoshop, maybe you don't have the patience to learn all these different techniques in Photoshop, this is quite awesome. If you are a professional, this is great to really complement and help speed up your workflow. As we know in retouching, time is money. And if you are a beginner, over time you will realize this as well. Time is money. The more tools you can get to work in Photoshop, or the more techniques you can pick up to help speed up your retouching workflow, but also give you some good results, that can help you out in the long run, and it's also helpful to your client. Now, let's run the script because this is a different way of how I'm going to show you how to apply frequency separation. This is a very quick and effective way. So we're going to run the script. Also, the panel itself can be purchased at the Glamour Retouching Studios, or it comes with the VIP and lifetime membership. So if you get any one of those membership, you don't have to purchase this separately. Also included is this image. The VIP membership includes over, at this moment, January 2021, over 20,000 images for retouching. The beginner membership offers images, but at this current moment, it doesn't offer the Glamour panel. You would have to purchase that separately. The beginner membership is a monthly membership. Maybe you want to test, but also the monthly membership doesn't come with all the premier tutorials, like exclusive tutorials, nude retouching, nude photography, and stuff like that. But other tutorials like portraits and stuff like that, it comes with. And I think you also get around 5,000 to 6,000, between 3,000 and 5,000 images for practice retouching. So we have the panel run, we have the script run, and a lot of the stuff is about masking in and masking out, basically painting in and painting out. So we're going to use a soft brush. By default, this is set to 50%, and this is a great image to show because retouching all of these little bumps in Photoshop will take some time. We can be looking at 20 to 30 minutes just cleaning this up. So let's press B. And by default, this is set to 50%. I'm going to crank this to 100 so you can see the effects. We can go back and we can tune it back down. I'm going to show you also other stuff that we have inside here to enhance this. Also, I'm going to show you some Photoshop stuff we can incorporate inside the script itself, inside this effects that we are doing. Okay. This panel was created for me in conjunction with other software developers. It's a panel for me. It's copyright by Nello Johnson, and since I'm one of the co-founders here at the Glamour Retouching Studios, it's copyright under the Glamour Retouching Studios. I shoot a lot of glamour and beauty photography, so I needed a panel to complement and speed up my retouching workflow. I do a lot of boudoir. I also work with a lot of cam model agencies, adult model agencies and stuff like that. So stuff like this to help speed up the retouching workflow. And this is a great image to show, okay, stuff like this. Also, I have clients at times, on a tighter budget, or models that, want to build up their portfolio. And what I usually do is I would have, let's say this image, I would have it retouched in 3 or 4 different ways. And I will explain to the model, hey, if you want me to retouch it this way, you want a tighter budget, then it's going to cost you X, Y, Z. It's not going to cost you as much because I know it's not going to be it's not going to take me as long. I will also explain this to my clients, the type of retouching, and some of them would ask me, they would basically say, I like this one, why is it more cheaper? And I explain to them that I have tools in Photoshop, and then they say, oh, Photoshop can do that. And I'm like, yes and no. there are some tools that I have in Photoshop to help do this kind of stuff. If you don't know how to do this in Photoshop, it can be a nightmare, you know. So I explained to them that for personal use, you will find a lot of people love this, but when it comes to that high-end commercial look, they don't want that. They want you to take the time to deal with the skin, and it takes time, but it also is going to cost them more money. So that's something I would suggest to you, to if you are good at retouching, or if you don't, if you're not, you can head on over to Glamour Retouching Studios. You can sign up and you can start learning. But if you're good at retouching or whatever, I would highly recommend that you take the same image and retouch it in 3 different ways, and this can help your clients. And as I said, for personal work, I find a lot of my clients, they love this kind of look, and they always mystified that why something that looks more pleasing to them is a bit more cheaper. You know, also I have some clients in the makeup artist industry that like this kind of look. Okay, so let me show you the before and after. Now, just imagine you trying to deal with all this in Photoshop. I have a tutorial on this, and even though we're going to be using the Glamour Professional Retouch Panel, I think I spent in the tutorial 30 minutes just cleaning up the skin, because we're not going to use the effects as aggressive. But I just want to show you how aggressive this panel can get. But there's more to it than just painting. If you open up this box here, anytime you run a script and you notice there's a box like that, open it up, and there might be some stuff inside of the folder for you to enhance. In this case, the high pass filter. Also, let's click on the details. The details in this is by 70%, and if we turn that down 100%, we have what we call an airbrush look. And if we crank that up more, we can get more details. So let's put this back to 70%. I'm going to show you how we can get even more details. So we come down here to the high pass, double click on that. By default, this is set to 2. And now we can crank this up. Let's crank it up to 4. Let's crank it up so you can really see what it does. So it brings out more details, and I find I never have to go above 10. And some images I'm between 1 and 4. Usually I'm between 1 and 4. So sometimes what I would do, or what I would suggest for you to do, because a lot of times the face and down here, depending on what aperture you shoot at. So let's say in this case, I think we're shooting at f4 or something like that. It will start to get soft down here. So what I would do is run the script 2 different times, because on the face, if the face is soft, then the whole image just starts to look a little bit weird. It can start to look a little bit weird. Down here can get soft because that's where the fall off. We tend to have the focus right here, and depending on your aperture, the fall off is going to start. Depending on your aperture and your focal length, it's going to start to fall off and get soft. But you want the eyes and the face, you know, you want some good details in there. So I would recommend in some cases using the script 2 different times to paint one effects on the face, which may not need to be that strong, and then maybe down here it may need to be a little bit strong. Because let me just show you, down here we would need a more stronger look. So we would need, let's say, around 5.8 here, but we won't need that for the face. We can also paint out some of these effects in the face. So let's press B again, press X to bring up a black brush, and now let's bring the opacity to 20%, and we can now paint out some of the effects on the face. So another way, so if you don't want to run the script 2 times, let's try 40%. And let's just paint away. Okay, so now we start to get a more original texture. So you can do that, or if you like the whole way, you can just paint it back in 100%. So let's crank this up. and we can paint this back in. Just don't paint over the eyes and stuff like that. It's not for the eyes and stuff. Okay, so there's more we can do with this. We're not done yet. So it's very powerful, and there's a lot inside of it that you can use. We have someone that is working on a full tutorial, and hopefully we have that ready for this month of February 2021. But I'm going to be making the individual videos focus on one script at a time. But this other person is going to make a full tutorial, and hopefully we have that ready in sometime in February this month, hopefully by 2021. If not March, the latest, I hope. They already told me they have already started the tutorial. So we can add some more effects to this. Let's go here and let's grab so let's click here on the details where it says details, and you can grab one of the layer effects. So let's grab brightness and contrast. It should land underneath here. If it lands above, then it's going to be focused on the whole image. We just want that to be focused on where we paint. So let's say if we want to make this image darker or lighter, we can do that. So we can make it darker. We can add some more contrast to it. And it also visually gives you a good idea of how you paint. I sometimes like to use this just to get a good visual, sometimes to make sure I get a consistent paint, and then I would get rid of it afterwards. And as you can see, we got a consistent painting inside of here. We can also use curves. So let's click on details again. And let's bring up a curves. So we can put an S curve in here. So if we want to brighten it up in the dark areas and darken it down a little bit in the light areas, or vice versa, darken it down and brighten it up, we can do that. We can also click on details again or curves, and we can also put a hue sat in here, and we can pull out saturation. So notice we're not pulling out any saturation out of here, and also the saturation is giving us a good idea of the painting as well. So as you can see, we have some spots missing here. Don't worry about if you clip some of the edges there, you know, this is just the saturation look, and in your final process it's not going to show, you know. So we turn off the saturation again. As you can see, it's not showing up as much. But we can also, if it does show up too much, you can just click B, and when we have on curves, it shows up. But once we turn off curve, we can just press X and bring up a black brush and mask that back up. So very simple ways of doing this, and you can put any type of layers inside of here and modify to your heart desire. You can even put your dodging and burning effects inside of here, and you can do that inside of there, or you can put it on top. It doesn't matter. Again, so let's zoom in, and as I said, by default this is set to 50%. Also the high pass, we turn it up, so we turn back the high pass down to 2. We can get the original look. And if we set this back to 50%, let's go back in here. Let's set this to 50%. So this is the original look we will get. Let's turn up the high pass again. That's the details. So let's turn the details back to 70%. And yeah. So this is the default by 50%. Let's turn this off and on. Let's come down here by a chest where there's a lot of bumps. And if we crank that to 100%, we can basically obliterate all of those stuff. And you can just do more to enhance the image overall.